It is Monday, March 13th. We are at Grand Sail Key in the Bahamas, near the Abacos. All day today the forecast has predicted a high chance of squalls between 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. It's in that window now, and it's got eerily quiet and a bit dark behind us. According to the radar, there's a long line of thunderstorms up there. It's actually traveling east, not south towards us, but part of it is probably going to clip us. So let's see how it goes. For now, it's just a bit eerie. The wind that had been with us all day came to a complete stop just now. It was dead silent. Then it swung by 90 degrees and rapidly escalated, and here we go. Everyone in the anchorage is swinging 90 degrees away from where they were a minute ago. So, see how it goes. The wind's been coming out of the southwest over there all day. And then, over the course of just 60 seconds, it swung out of the west over there, and you can see already the wave chop is coming from the same direction. Fortunately, we have very little fetch in that direction, and that is by design. Here comes the rain. On the iPad here on Windy, you can see the the storm coming in, so that's not the best. We are monitoring our anchor with the Cortex's Anchor Watch app. We've got 100 feet of rode out, and you can see that our range to the anchor right now is about 90 feet, so that road is pretty straight and tight. You can see that we spent earlier today mostly hanging out up here, but we've swung around 90 degrees because the wind has swung around 90 degrees, so that's how that's looking. Well, that was extremely unpleasant. We saw gusts up to 60 knots, which is much stronger than anything that was forecast. The dinghy on deck was being thrown around. The cover caught the wind and almost blew away. The boat was heeled over and moving sideways through the water a whole bunch of times. The anchor, Saka, if you're watching, thank you for making such a good anchor in the XL. If I ever have children, I'll name my children after you. So basically, the thickest and most intense part of the storm came pretty much directly over us. You can see all the lightning strikes. That was really tremendously unpleasant. And right now, all of that's heading for Abaco and Grand Bahama. Any thoughts, Dan?
It was worse than a tropical storm.
Yeah.
Just because of how sudden it was. The tropical storm that we experienced on the boat was more gradual, and we were prepared for it. Not to say we didn't know this was coming, but it was a bit of a surprise. We were more gearing up for squall type thunderstorms, and this was a thunderstorm brought by a front. At least that's what I think. So we just weren't expecting it to come this far south, but it did. So it's a good lesson to be cautious when it comes to weather.
Thank you, Dan. So looking at the radar, it seems likely that the adverse weather event is over. Likely, but not certain. There's more bad weather heading generally this way, but it looks as though it will probably miss us, so that's good. Like the owners of the 3 other boats in this anchorage, we've been up on deck to survey the damage, and it looks as though, and we'll see in daylight, it looks as though there was no lasting damage. We've lost 3 clothespins. Everything else is so far looking okay, so that's good. We'll see better, obviously, in daylight. So it looks as though we've survived. 60 knots is way more than we would normally ever want to see. Thank goodness we were anchored. Thank goodness we have good ground tackle, a good bridle, good anchor chain, good shackles, and we had 7x scope deployed as well before any of this started. And we dived on the anchor as well to make sure the anchor was well set in sand. So maybe that's why we didn't drag it. Looking at the anchor alarm on the Cortex, it looks as though we didn't drag at all, which is amazing to me in 60 knots with the boat, you know, basically sideways. Anyway, that seems to be it. Fingers crossed it's a quiet night from here on.